I scored a 132 on the chemistry physics section of the MCAT, and here are 10 equations that you must know before you start practicing. Number one is going to be force is equal to mass times acceleration, which is of course Newton's second law. Number two is going to be Ohm's law, which is that the voltage is equal to the current I multiplied by the resistance R, and that can be used to solve a lot of circuit problems. Number three is the energy of a photon, and that's going to be E is equal to H Planck's constant multiplied by the frequency. Next, we're going to have the wave equation, which is that the velocity of a wave is equal to its frequency multiplied by its wavelength lambda. And that's in space or in air for the MCAT. And remember that C is equal to 3 times 10 to the 8th, and that's going to be equal to the frequency times the wavelength. So those two are inversely related to each other. After that, we actually have the work equation, where work is equal to force times displacement times the cosine of theta, the angle between those two vectors. Now, usually on the MCAT, that angle between them is 0, and the cosine of 0 is simply 1. So it simplifies to work is equal to force times distance. Then we have the thin lens equation, or the lens maker's equation, which is that 1 over the focal distance of a mirror or a lens is equal to 1 over the object distance plus 1 over the image distance. And that can be used to solve most optics problems. Next, we have the kinetic energy formula, which is that the kinetic energy is equal to 1/2 multiplied by the mass multiplied by the velocity of an object squared. Next, we have an equation that can be used to solve most calorimetry problems, and that is that Q, the heat that is absorbed or released, is equal to the mass of the object multiplied by the specific heat capacity of that object C multiplied by delta T, the change in its temperature. And that is Q is equal to mcat, a good way to memorize that. Next, we have the Doppler equation, which describes the Doppler effect. And the idea with the Doppler effect is if you have a sound wave that's emitted by some sort of source and someone is listening to that sound wave, then the observed frequency of that sound wave can be different from the actual source frequency depending on if the object and the source are moving away from each other or towards each other. And the mathematical statement here is that the frequency observed is equal to the source frequency multiplied by this fraction at the top. It's the speed of sound, v, plus or minus the observer velocity divided by the speed of sound v plus or minus the source velocity. And lastly, we have the ideal gas law, which shows up all the time on both chemistry and physics problems. And this is going to be that the pressure of the gas P multiplied by the volume it occupies is equal to the number of moles of gas N multiplied by R, the ideal gas constant, times T, which is the temperature in Kelvin. So if you know most of these equations, then you'll be able to solve a lot of MCAT problems. However, there's also other equations you might occasionally run into. So please DM us the word equation and we'll send you our free formula sheet. Also, I invite you to join me on Thursdays at 8 p.m. EST or 5 p.m. PST for my free live workshops where I go through double AMC practice problems and also talk about test taking strategy. I hope to see you there.